ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So we are on the 10th chapter of first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are going to study shloka number 23, 24 and 25. So please raise your hands to read. I would prefer those who have not yet recited in the beginning of the class, somebody from those participants who has not recited, if you can raise your hand and read, that will be very much helpful. Dhanashri Mataji, please read.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रणाम।
Dandavat pranam.
टेक्स्ट 23 स वा अयं यत् पदमत्र सूरयो जितेन्द्रिया निर्जितमातरिश्वनः पश्यन्ति भक्त्युत्कलितामलात्मना नन्वेष सत्वं परिमार्ष्टमर्हति। हरे कृष्ण माताजी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Translation also, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and the senses. And that is the only way to purify existence. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So we are on that part of the story where Krishna was, he protected Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara. We saw the prayers of Kunti Maharani. Then after that, Yudhishthir Maharaj, along with Krishna and all the others, they went to see Bhishma Dev, and we saw how he left his body. And now Krishna is going back to Dwarka. So they are all bidding farewell to Krishna. And these shlokas, what we are reading from the previous shloka, from shloka number 22, these are the the ladies of Hastinapur. They are standing on their on the top of their houses, and they are looking very, they are very sad to see Krishna going. They are looking at Krishna. Krishna is also glancing at them. And at that time, They are talking with each other, they are praising Krishna, and they are actually praying to Krishna in different ways. So this is what they are talking to each other. So they are saying here, here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees. So they are saying that means um, uh, this is the same person, means what? This is the same person, means what? This person is already existing somewhere. Is it not? We are talking about that person. He has come here now. So it means they are indicating that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is not formless, first of all. That means the Lord has his wonderful two-handed form, four-handed form, and so on. So he is not formless. So because many people say that there is the Brahma Jyoti and nothing else is there. The Krishna doesn't have form. Many people say that when this Brahma Jyoti mixes with the Sattva Guna, then Vishnu is formed. And there are so many different theories. But the Vaishnava theory, but the Vaishnava Acharyas, they discard all these theories and they say, no, the Lord has a form. And that same form is experienced or is glorified by various different great devotees of the Lord. And these ladies from Hastinapur, they are remembering how the great devotees of the Lord glorify the Lord, and they can see that glorification personified in front of them. Whatever they have heard from the great devotees, because the great devotees, what is the way of communicating the message of the Lord? Through different scriptures, through Vedas, through poems, through poetries, and so many other things. So all these great devotees, whatever they are writing, the ladies have heard that through authoritative sources, and they know that yes, this is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now they are actually looking at Krishna and they are bidding farewell to him because he's going back to Dwarka. So let us read the purport. Here also in the translation it is said, these great devotees, how can you say that these are great devotees? Because they are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and the senses. So only performing tapasya is not the way of performing devotional service. Or these pure devotees, they have their control on their senses as well as they are performing rigid devotional services also. It's not that they are just discarding the life in general and going to the forest and just meditating upon the Lord, because we have seen and we'll read in the purport also how only meditating on the Paramatma feature of the Lord is not helpful. How Srila Prabhupada is going to explain us very nicely of that. So we'll read the purport also and again then discuss a little bit. So who's going to read the purport? Sorry.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shall I read?
Yes, Prabhuji, please read.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord can be known in his real nature by dint of pure devotional service only. So it is stated here that only the great devotees of the Lord who are able to clear the mind of all material dust by rigid devotional service can experience the Lord as he is. Jitendriya means one who has full control over the senses. The senses are active parts of the body and their activities cannot be stopped. The artificial means of the yogic processes to make the senses inactive has proved to be abject failure. Even in the case of great yogis like Vishwamitra Muni controlled the senses by yogic trance. But when he happened to meet Menaka, a heavenly society woman, he became a victim of sex and the artificial way of controlling the senses failed. But in the case of a pure devotee, the senses are not at all artificially stopped from doing anything, but they are given different good engagements. When the senses are engaged in more attractive activities, there is no chance of their being attracted by any inferior engagements. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the senses can be controlled only by better engagements. Devotional service necessitates purifying the senses or engaging them in the activities of devotional service. Devotional service is not inaction. Anything done in the service of the Lord becomes at once purified of its material nature. The material conception is due to ignorance only. There is nothing beyond Vasudeva. The Vasudeva conception gradually develops in the heart of the learned after a prolonged acceleration of the receptive organs. but the process ends in the knowledge of accepting Vasudeva as all in all. In the case of devotional service, this very same method is accepted from the very beginning, and by the grace of the Lord, all factual knowledge becomes revealed in the heart of a devotee due to dictation by the Lord from within. Therefore, controlling the senses by devotional service is the only and easiest means. Hare Krishna Mata.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Who can understand me? Only my pure devotee. Only through bhakti you can understand me. There is no other means of understanding Lord Sri Krishna. By jnana, by vairagya, by knowledge, by speculation, and by karma kanda, by performing various activities, the actual love for Krishna cannot be understood. Only through devotional service, activities performed through devotional service, Bhaktimay Seva. When you do these things, then only you can understand Sri Krishna. Only the pure devotees of the Lord can understand, and they can relish the relationship with Lord Sri Krishna. And the form of the Lord can also be understood only by those people. Otherwise, the great rishis and munis who performed tapasyas for many, many years, they also failed to know Krishna, to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The example Srila Prabhupada gives here is about Vishwamitra Muni. So we all know these stories. He had the fall down because of two different apsaras. So performing tapascharya, performing austerities for a long period of time, only by artificial means of closing the senses. I will not see with my eyes, I will not hear anything, I will not smell. It is not possible to shut down the senses at all. Because every now and every moment of time, the senses are always active. Even if you close your eyes, and if somebody moves from in front of you, you can experience that. You can feel that somebody has gone from left to right in front of my eyes. So your senses are always active. They cannot be shut down completely. Therefore, only artificially controlling the senses and only performing tapascharya is not the solution. Just as Srila Prabhupada is explaining us with the example of Vishwamitra Muni. Similar example is of Saubhari Muni also. We know we have talked about these examples so many times. So Saubhari Muni also, as soon as he was to get rid of all the worldly matters, he actually went below the water. But there also he could not control his senses, and he had to give up his practice of meditation. Okay, so then what is the solution? So Prabhupada tells us, see, we'll read this little part again. Yeah. The artificial way of controlling the senses failed for Vishwamitra Muni. But in the case of a pure devotee, the senses are not at all artificially stopped from doing anything, but they are given different good engagements. When the senses are engaged in more attractive activities, there is no chance of their being attracted by any inferior engagements. This is very important. So we have to engage our senses. Prabhupada calls it as doubt-telling the senses. Okay, doubt-telling our activities. We don't have to stop seeing things. We have to see good things, favorable for our cultivation of devotion. We don't have to stop hearing. We have to hear what is favorable for us, and so on with all the different senses. So what is the best example of the devotee who engaged all his senses in the devotional service of the Lord? Who is that?
Ambarish
Maharaj. Yeah. So that shloka is very popular shloka. Savai mana Krishna padaravindayo. Last one time we had also seen that shloka and recited that. So in that, it is mentioned that Ambarish Maharaj engaged all of his senses in some way or the other to choose to have the Lord. So we should not have material desires, but our desires should also be doubted. Our desires should also be converted to spiritual desires. So we cannot stop seeing. We should see the form of the Lord. The best way is of doing these things is starting our day with our morning program. This is the best thing what we can do. Yes. So every day if we get up very early in the morning, what is the first thing we do? We get up and we perform, we open our eyes. After cleansing ourselves, we open the altar. So our eyes get the attractive darshan of the Lord Sri Krishna. Once the altar is open, then we ring the bell. Our ears get the vibration of a spiritual sound. Then we offer incense, agarbatti. Our nose is getting that. We sing the arti. Our tongue is spiritualized. Then later we eat prasad. Our tongue and stomach, they are getting purified. So every sense gets purified when we are doing the Mangalarti program. Therefore, whenever we perform Krishna conscious activities, automatically all our senses get engaged. And then it is very easy to understand who is Lord. Then we can appreciate the two-handed form of Sri Krishna. Then we can appreciate the Tribhanga form of Lord Sri Krishna, Lord, and also of Radharani. And one more example we can give of that of Haridas Thakur. So here, these women, what are they saying? They are saying that, once again I will read it. Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whose transcendental form is experienced by great devotees. So what is the power of a great devotee? We know the story of Haridas Thakur also, how a prostitute comes and tries to, get him away from chanting Krishna's name, and how he tells her to wait. He tells her, I will fulfill all your desires, just let me finish my rounds. So she waits, and Haridas Thakur is chanting. Ultimately, after some time, she starts to imitate. Sorry, she's not chanting with her own faith, whole faith, or with her complete mind. She's just imitating, like, oh, Hare Krishna, Hare. What is this chanting? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. She's saying like that. But that imitation also gives her the ultimate benefit. In just 3 days of the association of pure devotee, she also becomes a pure devotee. Haridas Thakur initiates her. He asks her to stay in the kutir and chant Krishna's name. And she also starts preaching Krishna's name. She leaves her job of a prostitution and she becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. So the shloka says, Akama sarva kamova. You know that shloka? Akama sarva kamova. Moksha kama, what is that? Moksha kama udaradi. So whether you are having no desires, akama, no desire at all. Sarva kama, you have all sorts of desires. Or even moksha. With any of these desires, if you are approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are serving Him, even with your selfish intentions also, ultimately you are going to get benefit. But so what to talk about the pure devotees of the Lord? So the power of pure devotees is that they can even override Maya Devi. They can create pure devotees out of the most fallen souls of the world. And so this is the power of pure devotees. And such pure devotees have glorified the Lord. We will see in the next shloka how the scriptures talk about Sri Krishna, about the Lord. So these ladies, they are talking about that these great devotees, they are always glorifying the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. And here today now, we can see this Lord face to face. And they are smiling. Krishna is also smiling, reciprocating with all these ladies. He can understand what is going on in the mind of these ladies. And how these all ladies of Hastinapur, they have also gradually become the pure devotees of the Lord. So let us see what they talk next in the next shloka. Somebody who can read this shloka now. Please raise your hand.
Shall I, Mataji?
Divya Desai Mataji, you are ready?
Yeah, Mataji.
Yes.
Savayam sakya nugitas satkatho vedeshu guyeshu cha guyyavadibihi ya ekaisho jagatatma lilaya srujatyavatyatina tatra sajjate. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Shall I read the translation?
Yes, translation also.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains and annihilates the material world and yet remains unaffected. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Pranams, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So here the ladies of Hastinapur, first they tell that the pure devotees of the Lord glorify the Lord. Now they are saying, not only the devotees, even the Shastras, they are giving us the pramana that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And they are discussing how the Shastras give the mention that what is that? Vedesha sarver aham eva vedya. All the Vedas also tell that the ultimate goal of your life should be the worship of Lord Sri Krishna. So let us see what Srila Prabhupada gives us in the purport. Who is going to read it? Anybody? Kusum Lata Mataji, do you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Hare
Please
Krishna,
read the
Mataji.
purport. Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedic literatures are glorifying the greatness of Lord Shri Krishna. Here it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam also. The Vedas are expanded by many branches and sub-branches by great devotees and empowered incarnations of the Lord like Vyas, Narad, Sukadev Goswami, the Kumaras, the Kapila, Prahlada, Janaka, Bali, and Yamaraj. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the confidential parts of his activities are described by the confidential devotee Sukadeva Goswami. In the Vedanta Sutras or Upanishads, there is only a hint of the confidential parts of his pastimes. In such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from the mundane conception of his existence, his identity being fully spiritual. His form, name, quality, and paraphernalia, etc., have been elaborately distinguished from matter, and therefore he is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent persons as impersonal. But factually, he is the Supreme Person, Bhagwan, and he is partially represented as Paramatma or impersonal Brahman. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. So, in the different scriptures, Vedanta Sutras, Upanishads, different Vedas, everywhere, the Lord is not as much glorified. The devotional aspect or the Leela aspects of the Lord are not mentioned so much as they are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Why is this case? Why it is said that his identity, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from mundane conception, but he is distinct, but he is mentioned in different forms. So therefore, some people get bewildered and they actually think that the Lord is formless. He doesn't have a form. He's not a person. He is impersonal. They are deriving these things from the different Vedas. Because why? Ye yathamam prapadyante. Whatever is your bhava, the Lord will reciprocate in the same form. He will only reveal to you that much, how much your faith is. So for the people who do not have faith at all, yeah. So in our Nama Parads, we say, no, we should not preach about Krishna conscious to non-devotees. That means those who doesn't have faith or those who are going to, they are going to disrespect the names of Krishna even after we preach them or even after we try to explain them. We should stay away from such people and we should not try to convince them about Krishna consciousness. So why is that? Because their level of faith is that much only. They cannot accept Krishna as the Supreme Person. And therefore, Krishna also doesn't want to reveal himself to those people. Therefore, for them, he does not exist. Then there are some people who they think that God is formless. So Krishna wants to keep himself in that way in front of them so that, they are not forced to come to bhakti. Why is it so? Because we all have rebelled ourselves from Krishna's dham. We were all in the spiritual loka, spiritual world. And we have come down into the material world because we did not want it to stay with Krishna anymore. Because of our stubbornness, because of our aggressive nature, we have come down, we have separated ourselves from Krishna and we have come to fallen into the material world. In that case, Krishna also wants to give us that independence, and therefore he only reveals to them the different people according to their acceptance level of Krishna's identity. Therefore, in different scriptures, the Vedas, Upanishads, Itihasas, everywhere, in different ways, Krishna has been presented. The Supreme Lord has been presented so that those people can be satisfied with the way they want to look at the Lord. But the pure devotees of the Lord, they have glorified the Lord, such as the 10 Mahajanas, the Mahajanas, like Vyasdev is there, Brahmaji is there, Narad Muni is there, Chatushku Maharaj are there, Prahlad Maharaj is there, Janak Maharaj is there, Yamraj is there. All these great devotees of the Lord, they have glorified the Lord in the scriptures also, and in their prayers also, different prayers also. And that personality of Godhead is now standing in front of us. So, to understand the Lord, there are two things required. First of all, there should be no envy. Matsar. If there is envy in your mind, why? About anybody, about the different devotees also, about the Lord also, any sort of envy is there in the mind, then we cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So first of all, we should not have envy. And then what we should have? The opposite of envy. What is opposite of envy? That is love. Love for Krishna. And love for Krishna can be enhanced, enriched by, now, this love is a very subtle internal feeling. But this internal feeling of love can be expressed externally to others by two things, Gyan and Vairagya. Are you getting? We don't have to envy anybody, even with the Lord, most of all. We don't have to envy the Lord, but we have to love the Lord. That love is an internal feeling which is expressed in the form of Gyan and Vairagya, with the help of knowledge and renunciation. So, with the knowledge, we can express our feelings. Yes, Supreme, that Krishna, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am the servant. Or Krishna, you are my friend, I am your friend. Or Krishna, you are just like my son or son, and I am your parent. So in different moods, with Jnana, we can reveal our love for Krishna. And also with Vairagya, that is sense control. How we are going to avoid or how we are going to disengage our senses from the material world and engage them into the service of the Lord. So this Jnana and Vairagya are the way of showing our love for Krishna. So these things, and these things we can understand with the help of our Guru. Is it not? So this knowledge which we are talking about Krishna, we can gain this knowledge with the help of our spiritual master. And when such knowledge is cultivated, when such renunciation is cultivated, when this love is expressed, then we try to become the pure devotees of the Lord. And this love is clearly seen in the talks of these ladies of Hastinapur. It is clearly seen in the eyes of the ladies of Hastinapur. That means we can understand how, to the great level, all the ladies were the pure devotees of the Lord. So they were simple ladies doing their household duties every day, but the heart of these ladies was completely filled with the love for pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, let us go ahead. Let us see one more shloka. Who is going to read? Please raise your hands. I cannot see. Shelja Mataji, do you want to read?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Please read shloka and translation.
Yadha hridharmena tamodhi rupaha jivanti tatrehi satvata kila tadhe bhagam satyapridam dayam yasho bhavaya rupani tadat yuge yuge.
Translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest mode of existence, the Lord in his transcendental form manifests his supreme power. The truth positive shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as is necessary in different periods and ages. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Which is the shloka in Bhagavad Gita? Very
Paritranaaya sa
famous. Before that also. One more shloka before that.
yada yada
Yada yada hi dharmasya. Please say it completely, Mataji.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे.
Yes.
Hare
So
Krishna.
Krishna appears. Thank you so much, Mataji. So Krishna appears in different yugas, in the various yugas to protect his devotees, to annihilate the demons, to re-establish the dharma in the world. So that is where, that is what again these ladies are recollecting. Yeah, they are also saying, Bhavaya Rupani Dada Yuge Yuge. In each and every yuga, Krishna appears again and again to kill the miscreants. Because just now the war of Kurukshetra has finished, and these all ladies have experienced what has happened in the war. Therefore, they are now glorifying the Lord, that how he comes to annihilate the demons, how he comes to, re-establish dharma and save the devotees of the Lord. Purport is very big, but very beautiful purport. We will read the purport and then we will stop. There are, I think, 3 paragraphs. We will give the chance to 3 different devotees, one paragraph each. Please read very patiently, very nicely. Very beautiful purport it is. Who wants to read? Sindhu Mataji will read the first paragraph. Then maybe Archana, Sunil Kumar Mataji, and then
Yes,
Sudha.
Mataji.
Yeah, please read, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Text 25, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As mentioned above, the cosmic creation is the property of the Supreme Lord. This is the basic philosophy of Ishopanishad. Everything is the property of the Supreme Being. No one should encroach upon the property of the Supreme Lord. One should accept only what is kindly rewarded by him. Therefore, the earth or any other planet or universe is the absolute property of the Lord. The living beings are certainly his parts and parcels or sons, and thus every one of them has a right to live at the mercy of the Lord to execute his prescribed work. No one, therefore, can encroach upon the right of another individual man or animal without being so sanctioned by the Lord.
What is this shloka? The first shloka from Ishopanishad?
Ishavashyamidam sarvam yatkincha
जगतां जगत्तेन त्यक्तेन भूमता वाग्हृदा स्विद्दन्.
Very well. See, you all know everything. Yes, please read.
Hare Krishna. The king or the administrator is the representative of the Lord to look after the management of the Lord's will. He must therefore be a recognized person like Maharaja Yudhishthira or Parikshit. Such kings have full responsibility and knowledge from authorities about the administration of the world. But at times, due to the influence of the ignorance mode of material nature, tamoguna, the lowest of the material modes, kings and administrators come into power without knowledge and responsibility, and such foolish administrators live like animals for the sake of their own personal interest.
Just as the kings we see in the Kali Yuga, all the political leaders who are so-called kings of today's world, we see how they are performing all the activities only to fill their pockets. There is nothing for the betterment of the people in general. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is also mentioning here. Yes, Mataji, please read.
The result is that the whole atmosphere becomes surcharged with anarchy and vicious elements. Nepotism, bribery, cheating, aggression, and therefore famine, epidemic, war, and similar other disturbing features become prominent in human society. And the devotees of the Lord or the faithful are persecuted by all means. All these symptoms indicate the time of an incarnation of the Lord to re-establish the principles of religion and to vanquish the maladministrators. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes. So the Lord will appear when this Kali Yuga will show its extreme cruelty. That time Lord will again appear and annihilate all the miscreants. Yes, yes. Next.
Hare Krishna.
Read, Mataji.
The Lord then appears in his transcendental form without any tinge of material qualities. He descends just to keep the state of his creation in a normal condition. The normal condition is that the Lord has provided each and every planet with all needs of the native living beings. They can happily live and execute their predestined occupations to attain salvation at the end, following the rules and regulations mentioned in the revealed scriptures. The material world is created to satisfy the whims of the Nitya Bhadda or everlasting conditioned souls, just as naughty boys are provided with playing cradles. Otherwise, there was no need of the material world. But when they become intoxicated with the power of material science, they exploit the resources unlawfully without
No problem, Mataji. Please continue.
but when they become intoxicated with the power of material science to exploit the resources unlawfully without the sanction of the Lord, and that also only for sense gratification, there is necessity of the Lord's incarnation to chastise the rebellious and to protect the faithful.
Thank you, Mataji.
And Aul pura kuda mastu nadapera pura uppada. కొంచెం వీర్లార్ల వీర్లార్ల ಯಾರು 10 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ನಡಪರ ಪೋರ
Sorry for the disturbance. Yes, please read who is the next. So you got this paragraph. It's simple, similar only. Sorry. So the Lord appears without any material qualities. He is completely spiritual. He always comes, he descends, and he then establishes the religious principles into the lives of the people. One more paragraph to go. Please read, Mataji. Who is reading?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
When he descends, he exhibits superhuman acts just to prove his supreme right, and materialists like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, and Kamsa are sufficiently punished. He acts in a manner which no one can imitate. For example, the Lord, when he appeared as Rama, bridged the Indian Ocean. When he appeared as Krishna, from his very childhood, he showed superhuman activities by killing Putana, Aghasura, Shakatasura, Kaliya, etc. And then his maternal uncle, Kamsa. When he was at Dwarka, he married 16,108 queens, and all of them were blessed with a sufficient number of children. The sum total of his personal family members amounted to about 1 lakh, popularly known as the Yadu Vamsha. And again, during his lifetime, he managed to vanquish them all. He is famous as the Govardhanadhari Hari because he lifted at the age of only 7 the hill known as Govardhana. The Lord killed many undesirable kings in his time, and as a Kshatriya, he fought chivalrously. He is famous as Asamurdhava, unparalleled. No one is equal to or greater than him. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. We'll read the translation once again. Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest modes of existence, the Lord in his transcendental form manifests his supreme power, the truth positive, shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as is necessary in different periods and ages. So whenever it is required, the Lord will appear and he will annihilate the miscreants. So what is our duty? What do we learn from today's session is that we have to take shelter of the pure devotees of the Lord, to understand the Lord, what is required, not to envy anything, but to have pure love of Godhead. We have to cultivate knowledge. We have to practice renunciation. We have to dowtel the senses to engage them in the service of Krishna. It is not a matter of just closing the senses and just practicing Hatha Yoga, practicing meditation, but to positively engage, enthusiastically engage all the senses in the service of the Lord. That is the only way of maintaining ourselves away from the material world while living in the material world, and maintaining ourselves in the spiritual platform, on the spiritual platform, and cultivating our love of Godhead, or love for the Godhead, and in my words, it is taking one step ahead towards Krishna. So thank you so much. If there are any questions, please are free to, because we still have 4-5 minutes. So if there are any questions, we can address it. Otherwise, we will stop. Okay, so let us stop here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav vrinda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Upasthit Gaura Bhakta vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandat pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams Mataji.
Dandat.